Bonjour, je m'appelle Leah.
Hola, me llamo Rachel.
Ich heiße Kevin. And we are here today, clearly, to talk about foreign films. So what are everybody's picks?
My pick was Like Water for Chocolate.
And that's from?
That's from Mexico.
Mine is Requiem, which is from Germany.
And mine is Rififi, which is from France. So Rififi is 1955. It's directed by an American director named Jules Dassin, who, very interesting story, he had to leave the United States in the early 50s due to McCarthyism. Got to France, tried to get several different projects started, and he basically had to kind of beg for this gig. It was already set up with another director.
Oh, really?
And Rififi is a noir-esque gangster film and is about Tony, who is approached by one of his buddies, one of his burglar buddies, for one big heist. It's gritty, it's in black and white, it has femme fatale.
Tony!
And so it does speak to all of those kind of noir elements. And this film is probably most well known for the best heist sequence that happens in the middle of the film. What makes this all so particularly sweet is that Jules Dassin went on to win Best Director at Cannes. It's just a favorite. It's right there with Asphalt Jungle, The Killers, Night in the City. If you like those noir-esque gangster films from that period, then you will fall in love with Rififi.
So Like Water for Chocolate is based off of the novel by Laura Esquivel, and she also did the adaptation to the screenplay. And her novel was a bestseller in Mexico for 3 years running, and her husband at the time is the director of this film, Alfonso Arau. So it's sort of a husband-wife team. This movie's a very tactile film. It's shot by Emmanuel Lubezki, who did all of the Terrence Malick films later on. And it's just gorgeous. You know, you're watching these people chop up this food, and the culture and the smells and the texture of everything just bubbles off the screen. It's amazing. You have to have something to eat while you watch this film. I think that's very important. And the whole plot is that Tita is not allowed to marry. She is the youngest of 3 daughters, and she is supposed to go through life and take care of their aging mother,
Right.
so she can't marry. She falls in love with this very good-looking fellow named Pedro, and Pedro, in order to be near her, ends up marrying her sister, which seems like just the worst idea possible. They all live in the same house. Things get really difficult, and then Tita starts cooking. And when she cooks, she puts her emotion unknowingly into her food.
Si Dios quiere. Sí. Suelta tus lágrimas, mi niño. Porque mañana no quiero que nadie te vea llorar. Y mucho menos Rosaura.
This is just a very well-constructed film, and I think that's partly because the novel was written by the same person who then adapted it, so maybe that's why it works so well, but it's very well done.
My selection is called Requiem. It's made in 2006 by Hans Christian Schmidt. It's a German film. It's the true story of Anneliese Michel. Now, Anneliese Michel was a girl who was 23 in Germany in the 70s who thought she was possessed, so they did an exorcism and she died during the exorcism. It's a true story. That was the basis for the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Okay. So it's kind of going back to the original story, fictionalizing it, but basing it on that particular incident. But what it is it's not a horror movie. It's really a drama and a psychological study of this girl who really does believe she's possessed because they can't figure out what's wrong with her.
Heiliger Geist, komme in mein Herz. Durch deine Macht ziehe es an dich und gewähre mir Gottes Liebe und Gottes Furcht. Christus, erlöse mich vor jedem schlechten Gedanken, auf dass mir alles leicht erscheinen möge. Heiliger Vater und lieber Herr, hilf mir bei all meinen Aufgaben.
It's really about everybody failing her and her trying to deal with this while trying to go to school to prove herself to her mom that she can handle school while dealing with these problems. And you don't really know, is she epileptic or is it something worse? Because it does get a little bit intense towards the end. And
Does it seem, so it seems like she could actually, like
right,
the possession
because
thing is a
her
possibility.
personality changes. And which brings me to my point. And the reason I chose this movie is because Sandra Huller, who plays Michaela, it's one of the best performances I've seen probably the last 10 years. She won a bunch of awards. She was nominated for like 9 awards, won 6 of them, mostly in Germany. It just never really became a hit here. It was released by IFC if you look at the DVD box, you know, she has a red eye and it's all like evil is within her. And it's not that type of movie at all. It's very documentary-like the way it's filmed. It's handheld. It's very low budget. But her performance, actually everybody's performance is great, but it's so compelling. 89 minutes long, but you can't help but just be riveted by like what is wrong with her and what's going on with her.
Rififi is an older film, 1955 noir gangster film that is just gritty. It's a film that should be included in every gangster film fan's library.
Like Water for Chocolate is a really beautifully well-shot film. It's a very different take on what a romantic film can be.
Requiem is a really compelling look at the possibility of possession and also how the system can really fail people.
Cheers!
We're going to Leah's house. We're going to watch them all.
We're going to watch them all.
So I've told you about my film, you've told me about yours.
We showed you ours, you showed...
Right. Nice, Rachel.